Hi everyone, it's me Mola again, and welcome to the latest episode of the Survivor Series FPL Bulletin. Over the past, I would say the past few days since Sunday, there's been a lot of commotion with the European Super League, and from my take as a content creator, I think the biggest issue I had with it was that what am I going to be creating? What is the future of FPL? I I cannot imagine FPL without the big six because that is where we captain most of our players from, and I would say half of our squads are made up of players from those teams. So it was something to think about, as well as my other series, the UEFA Champions League chat show. I don't know if you've seen it, but it revolves around these teams that supposedly wanted to break away and form their own league. So it was very, um, I would say it was very groundbreaking and shocking and very eventful. But I think football's back, so that's something I'm happy about because I'll be able to still be able to create content for you guys, and let's see how this pans out. Let's see what sanctions will be imposed on the teams and the way forward. But I'm just happy that the teams are back and I'm still able to create content because I would have lost content to create from, especially the UEFA chat show, because without those teams, it would have been a bit difficult to create content. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say on the that issue. So I'll move on. Welcome to today's episode. Looks at game week 32 and game week 33, which is upcoming. So game week 32 ended last night. Leicester beat West Bromwich Albion by 3-0, and the tables have updated. So we're now able to discuss and update the tournament brackets, see who's won, who was knocked out. But if you're new to this channel, there's a link in the description below. You just click it and it's going to direct you to a video that talks about what this competition is all about. But before we can get into it, remember to like this, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment below, and share. So just a disclaimer before we can proceed. This is fantasy football, so which means you have to create a team with a fake name. So all the teams I'm about to show you are fake and do not exist in reality. So the slide on screen shows the results for game of 32. Remember, leg 1, the first leg, was games played in game of 31, and now the second leg games were played in the game of 32, which is ended, and the results are shown on screen. A Bumblebee was playing Alamadiga, and he won by 59 to 58, so just 1 point there. The battle of that number is next, and Orochimaru did fantastic. He beat PD. The third battalion was up against player one, and he won. Oh, he lost actually. He lost. Amenyete was against TN United FC, and TN lost. Zambezi Demigods was up against Screw Fantasy, and Screw Fantasy won. So you notice that I'm looking at, I've split the screen. I'm looking at my spreadsheet because the screen is too zoomed in and I'm not able to see clearly. But Yeah, that's that. So Golazzo was up against the Ammunitions, and the Ammunitions won. Costa United FC was up against Medusa's Gaze, and Medusa's Gaze won. And the United Heist was up against Look Up to See Me, and Look Up to See Me was beaten. Those are the results. We move on to the tournament bracket. So the actual tournament bracket, if you're in the WhatsApp group, if you join the WhatsApp group, I usually share this in the WhatsApp group, and you'll be able to zoom in and see all the teams. But because this is just snapshots and bits of the the tournament bracket, I had to zoom in and extract it in bits and pieces. So there's 4 screenshots. So the first one is showing the top left corner. So the teams involved there are as shown on screen. Let me just look at mine this side so we're on the same page. Okay, so on the top left corner, there is Bumblebee was up against Avamadega. So the aggregate score for Bumblebee is 116 and Avamadega has 153. So obviously Avamadega has more points, which means, as you can see there, Avamadega has gone through to the next round, which is the quarterfinals. And the lower of the top left bracket had the 3rd Battalion up against Player 1, and Player 1 had the higher aggregate scoreline, therefore Player 1 goes through to the quarters, which means Avamadega will be up against Player 1. So the next bracket shows the left side, but the lower half. Basic Demigods was up against Screw Fantasy, and the aggregate scoreline, Screw Fantasy had more points, so Screw Fantasy goes through to the quarters. Costa was up against Medusa's Gaze, and Costa had the higher aggregate scoreline over the 2 game weeks, so Costa goes through to the quarters and will face Screw Fantasy. We'll move to the right top left bracket. Just give me a sec. Okay, so the top right bracket had PD6, whatever, against Orochimaru, and Orochimaru had the higher aggregate score, so they go through to the quarterfinals and will face TN United FC with the higher aggregate scoreline against I Am Inevitable. And the lower half of the right side had Golazzo, who was up against the Ammunitions. The Ammunitions had the higher aggregate score, so the Ammunitions goes through to the quarterfinals and will face Look Up to See Me, who had the higher aggregate score against United Heist. So lastly but not least, let's look at these teams that are through to the quarters. So that's them, and that's how they've been drawn against each other. And Avamadega will be playing Player 1. Screw Fantasy will be playing with Costa United. Orochimaru is up against TN United FC. And Ammunitions is up against Look Up to See Me. And there you have it. So that's it for this week. But before I can go, just a reminder, remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell for notifications, leave a comment below, suggestions, what you think about this, if there's anything you'd like me to change, because all this is centered around you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching. Remember, game week deadline is today. Not sure the time, but yeah, I think 19:30 Central Eastern Time, so Central African Time, which is time zone I'm in. So remember to make your game week. This is a blank game week, so Spurs and Manchester City will be playing in the League Cup final, Carabao Cup final. So that means they won't have fixtures in this coming game week. So most of the players from Man City and Spurs, you'll notice, have blanks. So remember to make your transfers, pick your captain, and all the best. Thank you and see you soon.